The wait is over, everybody. Andor is here. I just finished the first episode, and it was everything I wanted it to be. I'm a big fan of Star Wars. End of story. Period. And anytime something comes out, I'm hugely excited for it. I don't like all of them equally, but there's a great saying out there that there's no such thing as bad Star Wars. There's just some Star Wars things that are better than others. And this one, from the first episode, right out of the gate, we are establishing a dark, gritty show that is going to take us in places we've never seen before, and I, for one, am 100% on board. I'm Tim Anderson, aka Renfell, sometimes known as the Bearded Dwarven Princess to those in the Rings of Power community, and today is my review of the first episode of Season 1 of Andor. Oh, it's good. It's so good. I can't wait to dive into the episode for you, with you. All those good things, for you and with you. Spoiler alert, because I'm going to be talking about all the things. This is not a spoiler-free review. So, this is your last warning that there are spoilers ahead. Don't forget that if you want to support this channel, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, drop a super thanks down below. Thanks to all of you who are already doing so. Join as a member. More stuff at the end on how you too can support. But for now, let's get into the review. So we open up on the planet of Morlana 1 in the Preox corporate zone. New places I've never heard of before, new locations, right? So we get the sense that this is sort of a gritty, off-world kind of, corporate system that's, I'm guessing, is mining, which I'm not exactly sure what they're doing here or anything else. Why is Andor here? Because we get him on this planet. He's walking on the street, obviously being furtive, and makes his way to a brothel or a cantina here. And I love the grittiness of everything here, the color grading, the cinematography. This looks exactly like Rogue One, and I love the fact that they've made a matching style. And the music is freaking epic, especially when he gets into the cantina. Now, we've got some Corporal Guards. What are these dudes I recognize from that HBO series, Rome? He was the horse merchant, but he's like one of the Corporal Guards here. And there's a little bit of back and forth banter here, but Andor makes it pretty, Cassian makes it pretty clear from the get-go that he's here with one purpose in mind. And while there's a little bit of initial kind of flirting going on with the brothel girl, it turns out that he's here looking for someone, and that someone is his sister. Now, initially, I wasn't sure if he was actually looking for his sister, if this was code for something else. But then, as we start getting into the flashbacks that he's having, I think, yeah, he really is looking for his sister, because that's going to play a big part in this series. Is they were apparently separated, and we're going to go from there. Now, he finds out that his sister has disappeared. This girl he's looking for, he doesn't get the name that she's going by anymore. But the girl tells her, the girl from the brothel is like, you just need to get out of here. It's not safe for you here. So he bails. Guards behind him. So he's walking out. And this is the one part that kind of felt a little cliched, because we knew that these guys were going to follow him out of the cantina. And they totally do. So he's walking in the street. I love the way they filmed this shot, because we get this sequence of Cassian walking towards the screen, and then he stops, and he's right in front of the camera. And you hear these two guys behind him in the alleyway, and they're talking shit and all this other stuff. And he knows that shit's about to go down, and he's upset about it, and he's regretting it. But he does stop, and they eventually make their way sort of up behind him into the shot. And he gets a sequence where he talks about, I don't want any trouble. I've got some credits on me. Just take it for a bribe, and they're like, okay, we can totally do that. And of course, he lures them in so that they have to take it from his pocket. And then he basically, smashes his head into the one guy, grabs the pistol, beats the other guy, and throws them both down on the ground. It's a pretty cool little fight sequence, scuffle here in the streets. He's obviously got training. And then, he's literally like pointing the pistol at the fat guy, and he's like, tell me now, tell me what to do now, which is great. So he's obviously got some pent up anger against, whether it's the Corpo Guards or authority figures in general. I don't quite know yet. But once we figure out that the one guy is dead, and he was apparently killed by an accident, Cassian appears genuinely distressed, which makes me wonder, he apparently hasn't fallen quite so far as to be a truly tarnished character yet. But then at the end of this, when the other guy's begging for his life, he realizes that he can't let these guys just he can't let there be any evidence of anything, and he blasts the guy in the head. And I was like, oh, so he definitely is. He was upset that that had happened because he obviously didn't want to kill anybody while he was here. But when push comes to shove, he's gonna do what it takes to survive, which makes for brilliant character building because you have a guy who wants to be chaotic good. He wants to be a good guy. But he has to do bad things to survive, and that's what's going to make this show so amazing. It's what already made this character amazing in the Rogue One film. I'm loving the intro so far. He's got personal transport off-world, which comes into play later on because I was like, how did he get his ship? And then we find out later. So now we're back on the planet where he apparently lives, and there's this sequence where the droid that he works with, or his droid, is going through the streets, and there's like these womp rats or something, and the droid like hunkers in on itself to hide itself from the monsters, and then one of them runs by and lifts its leg and starts to pee on the droid, and then the droid zaps it, and I laughed so hard. Really good stuff here. Um, droid comes back. Cassian's in this broken down transport ship, which apparently is his home, and the droid tries to wake him. And here's when we get the flashback sequence to where it's apparently like a group of kids abandoned in the forest somewhere, living in a primitive style. And it's Cassian when he was a young boy with his sister living with these tribe of kids. And there's a transport vessel going above overhead. It's exploding on its way down. Um, Interesting stuff going on here. Then from there, he wakes up, and there's this sequence with the droid where he's telling the droid, who was here last night? He says, your friend was here looking for you. What did you tell him? Et cetera, et cetera. He's like, telling the droid, you need to lie for me. And I like the personality they've given this droid. I'm hoping this droid shows up more in this show because, excuse me, it has this cute little personality where it's stammering and trying to speak and obviously cares for Andor. So it's very a quirky little relationship here. Um, he keeps telling you, I can't stick around. I'm going to be late. He goes back into town. He's watching some miners coming out of I think it's mining is what they're doing. It turns out he's got a friend. He asks the friend to corroborate his story with him. Hey, this is what happened last night. I went with you. We got drunk. We had a fight. Cover for me. And his buddy's like, all right, I'll do it for you. And then he goes, well, we'll get to that in a minute. I don't want to jump ahead of myself here. Then we're back to Merlana. So we're getting lots of character introductions here. So it appears that there's this man, this deputy inspector, who's reporting the happenings of the night before, the fact that he found these two bodies. Human with dark features who was asking after a girl at the brothel cantina. And the captain of these guards, the captain of the deputy inspector, is like, you know what? Cover it up. They're at a brothel where they're not supposed to be because we're not supposed to have them. They had coin, which they can't afford because we don't pay them well enough. All these things that they shouldn't have. And I'm about to go do this, go before the review board for the Empire. And the last thing I want is them breathing down our necks. Trust me, when you've done this for as many years as I am, just cover this up. This is no big deal. And obviously the guy can't let it lay because he starts ordering his subordinates to look into everything over the course of the episode. So obviously this deputy inspector is going to be sort of like the hound that's got the scent, and he's going to be tracking Cassian down the whole time. So that's going to lead to problems later on. I guarantee it. Now, we get introduced to another character here who's this like mechanic. Because you got to have the cute girl on the show, so we've got her, and she apparently has connections to some sort of like smuggler outfit or something. Because Cassian's wanting her to like reach out to somebody because I've got this thing that they're gonna want. I've got this untrackable. I didn't get all the terminology they used. Something from a ship that this person's gonna want. And I really need your help. Can you please help me out? And then there's some back and forth, and she eventually agrees to it. Um, but yeah, this is obviously going to play into things here. The interesting thing to me here is that we're getting plenty of flashbacks, and I haven't quite exactly figured out what's going on other than the ship has crashed and the kids are going to go inspect it. And there's lots of sequences that go back and forth, interspliced with the deputy inspector ordering his men about and getting up in arms about this thing that his captain wants him to brush under the rug, and he just doesn't want to. There's a lot of subplots going on here, like the boyfriend of the mechanic, getting suspicious when she ducks out and she says she has to run an errand. And she manages to ditch him as he's following her, which suggests some training, perhaps, especially when she then goes to the junkyard and goes up this tower and makes sure no one's around and plugs into this old comm unit and starts tap 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 tapping, sending out a message. So is she like I don't know what she is. Is she part of the rebellion? Who is she? She's very young to have had any training, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that character. Um, we get a junkyard sequence here. This is apparently where Cassian borrowed the ship, but the guy who he used to borrow it from is now pissed off and says, "I don't want to work with you anymore. Don't come back. We're done." And so we've got a lot of things happening here, a lot of character introductions. At the end of this episode, we've got a flashback sequence again with Cassian going off to explore with the other kids, the wreckage, and his sister being left behind. So we know that they're going to get separated somehow, and we're going to get that through flashbacks. At the same time, we have the deputy inspector who's got a bug up his ass about trying to find the guy who took out these two individuals who murdered these two people. Um, and we also have people who are not wanting to work with Cassian anymore on his home planet. So we're sort of starting to see all of these events that are going to be pushing towards um, some high-paced action here in the next couple episodes. And given the fact that we've gotten 3 episodes right out of the gate, I have a feeling things are going to come to a head rather quickly. I can't wait to sink my teeth into the next 2 episodes. I will be reviewing them here, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so that you get updates for the upcoming reviews as I review this show along with all the other things I do here on YouTube. And thanks again to all these people who are supporters. You too can support. It's really simple. Drop a super thanks down below. Join as a member of the Adventurers Guild. You can also do super chats and stickers during live streams. Check out the Patreon page. Links are down below to everything. Hopefully we'll see you supporting the channel above and beyond. Consider me your Disney Plus affiliate and subscribe accordingly. See you in the next episode, everybody. Until next time. May the fourth be with you. Star Wars forever.